Congratulations to the Pittsburgh Maulers and finally making the playoffs. Your team was so bad in its first year of existence in '84 that you contracted. Then, your first year back in the new USFL, you were the laughingstock of the league, and all of a sudden, you're legit. They have made the playoffs. It may be with a 4-6 record, but they made it, and legitimately, they have a really good shot at making the title game. The Pittsburgh Maulers entered this game against the Generals, having lost all 3 of the games in the modern USFL, and having been at a season that saw them at 3-6. This was winning in, and they pulled it off. They out-Generals the General, held the ball for longer, and turned the ball over far less than their opponent while getting more. The Maulers, simply put, outplayed the Generals. They won this week and last week to secure their trip to the playoffs, winning 2 straight games to make the playoffs. We legitimately looked at this team in the early weeks and said they might make it because of the fact of one guy who proved to be the man, Troy Williams. This T-Well was legitimately great. The Maulers, in both the OG Maulers and last year's Maulers, had one huge issue: no QB. Vadley had literally a game, but aside from that, they had no QB. And as soon as T-Will was put as the legit starter, he went off. The man wasn't even the starter for the full season, and he still ended up having 1,400 yards total. But what made it great was the fact that he had an overall 9-4 touchdown to turnover ratio, which isn't the best, but his 86 quarterback or passer rating isn't that bad when you realize that his O-line was pretty bad and allowed him to get sacked 30 times. And he rushed for over 340 yards to pair up with his 1,400 passing yards. And if you saw my Generals video earlier today, you'll know that DeAndre fell off a cliff passing-wise in completion percentage. T-Will, not so much. 65 completion percentage on the season. I don't think anyone's talking about that. He's been a very accurate passer across the entire year, and he's been a great rusher. He rushes for over 5.5 yards per carry. He still passes for over 6, nearly half yards per carry. The dude's been great this year. He's been the biggest reason this team is great. And now, while yes, their defense has been incredible, the fact is that this team needs offense, and Groshek and London don't do as much as you'd expect them to do every week, so they've needed Will to do everything they can. Overall, I don't think anyone really expected this team to make the playoffs. This team was one that, once we hit, early in the season, some people before the season said they might make the playoffs, but that was your usually spring football speculation. But once week 5 hit, it really looked like this team wasn't going to make it, and it looked like it was going to be the Generals, Stars, and Panthers fighting for it. And you know what? The Maulers kept losing, but when the time came and they needed to win, they won both games. Honestly, this team might be my pick to win the championship. This team just feels like they're getting hot when you need to. You just won 2 important games in a row. You finally beat the Generals, something you hadn't done in the last 3 encounters. You made the playoffs. You finally got a quarterback. The Maulers, legitimately, congratulations. I know your fans are happy. Now go win the title.
Pittsburgh Maulers, congratulations. You have officially clinched a berth in the USFL in the